3 mandazi recipes that you should try. Number 1, yogurt mandazis, and number 2, orange flavored mandazis, and number 3, custard powder flavored mandazis. Keep on watching for the recipes.
Going to use for these delicious mandazis, I've got all-purpose flour, sugar, milk, yogurt, spices and baking powder. And for the spices, I used a half teaspoon of cinnamon, ginger and cardamom, but feel free to change these depending on your taste and what you've got at hand. I also used 1 tablespoon of margarine, but you can skip it if you do not have it at hand. So start by adding all-purpose flour, baking powder, the spices and the sugar and also the margarine, and you're going to mix this well, ensuring that you rub in the mixture into all the ingredients. And guys, for the spices, you can use just, if you've got ginger, use ginger. If you've got cinnamon, do the same, and if you've got cardamom. But if you mix these 3 flavors, spices, your mandazis are going to be so delicious. You're going to have a burst of flavors, you guys, and you're going to love it. And now at this point, now add the yogurt. I used vanilla yogurt, but you can use plain yogurt, you can use strawberry, whatever you've got at hand. And that is why I did not add a lot of sugar, because remember, vanilla yogurt already has sugar and some flavor. And now after that, go in with the milk and start mixing. And guys, when you're making your mandazi dough, kneading is absolutely key. So be sure to knead as much as you will love the outcome, you guys. So just mixing everything together and adding the milk gradually. Do not add any more liquid at this point. I assure you this recipe is completely okay the way it is. If you feel like your dough is too hard, just continue kneading until everything comes together like you can see on the video. You can transfer the dough to a surface like you see here, and like you've seen in this dough, I kneaded for like, how much? I kneaded for like 10 minutes and continued kneading for another 10. So in total I kneaded for 20 minutes, and you can see how the dough looks so nice, so soft. And now by just pressing it down, you can see it easily bounces back, so soft. And that's how mandazi dough is supposed to be like. So you're just going to cover it and rest it for 10 minutes. You can for 20 minutes. You can even rest it for 5 minutes if you are pressed for time. And after resting the dough, you can see it has continued to be even more softer. And when you're making your dough, the mandazi dough, you can add eggs, you can just go over, you can just be creative, add whatever you want to your yogurt mandazis. And now we are going to cut small balls, because we are not going to cut these mandazis in the ordinary way, like in the normal way that we are used to. And you can see I got 7 balls, and I'm going to take each at a time, and I'm just going to roll it out. Not too much, don't go too far, just roll it like a diameter of like 10 to how many centimeters, not too big, because we are not going to cut into so many mandazis here. And then now you're going to take your knife, or even you can take your pizza cutter, and you're going to cut it into 4 like that. So you see why I was telling you not to cut very big ones, to roll big ones. And you're going to do the same to all the other balls, just rolling it out like you see on the video. Then now taking your knife and cutting it into 4. It's going to be a lot more work, but it's completely worth it. Your mandazis are going to be super cute. And now let's test the oil. And I just put a small piece of dough, and if it comes up in just a few seconds, you know that your oil is ready. And here the oil was ready, so I just went ahead now and started adding the mandazis. Do not add the mandazis to cold oil, otherwise they're just going to absorb a lot of oil, and the end product will be so oily that you're not going to love the mandazis. So just continue frying. And also another tip, do not overcloud your pan when you are boiling when you're frying the mandazis. And also keep turning them, just to ensure that both sides are evenly cooked, just to ensure that both sides are golden brown, so that one side does not become so brown and the other one remains to be like creamish. And you're going to just continue frying them until your desired brown color. Like you can see mine, I love them like this. Yes, and you're just going to remove them from the oil and also first place them in a serviette so that the serviette can absorb all that oil. And guys, you can see it was so simple. Mandazi is absolutely a versatile recipe. You can just add whatever you like to your mandazis to make them even more delicious. And guys, this was the outcome. You can see these mandazis, they were so delicious. We ate them, the family loved them, and I love them even more. So I hope you try out this recipe. Thank you so much for being here. See you on my next one. This recipe, and these are the ingredients that I used: water, milk powder 1 tablespoon, 1 egg, 3 tablespoons of sugar, any sugar can do, 1 orange, vanilla essence 1 teaspoon, and 1 tablespoon of margarine, and 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. Also I used baking powder 1 tablespoon. And moving on, I start off by mixing all-purpose flour with margarine. Just put the flour into a large mixing bowl, then add 1 tablespoon of margarine and start mixing in by rubbing in with your hands, ensuring that all the margarine and flour come together and the mixture will be somehow crumbly. And after mixing margarine and all-purpose flour, I added 1 tablespoon of baking powder. Give that a good mix, and if you're using self-raising flour, you do not have to use baking powder. Next, I added milk powder and sugar and then continued mixing. And for the sugar, guys, you can use maybe less than what I used, or you can use more than what I used. It all depends with what you prefer and how you love your mandazis to be. And after mixing those ingredients, make a well at the center of the flour and then set it aside. At this point now, start preparing the orange. Start off by grating the orange zest like you see, and then after that cut the orange into 2 and then squeeze out juice from the orange. If you have a lemon squeezer, it works better. And then now mix in the orange zest, the orange juice with the egg, and then add 1 teaspoon of vanilla essence. I'm well aware that you can add other spices to your mandazis, but vanilla goes perfect with orange. That's why I used orange and vanilla. Give it a good mix and then now start adding it into the flour mixture. Try and pour it at the well that you made, the hole that you made at the center. And also start adding water bit by bit as you continue mixing to make a soft dough. Don't add all the water at once. And I used roughly 3/4 cups of water for this recipe, but I never added it all at once. I was adding bits by bits like you see on the video. And then first, after mixing with the spatula, now it's time to go in with your hands. Give it a good mix, and the idea is to get a very soft dough. Knead it as much as you can. The longer you knead the dough, the better it becomes. And after that, transfer it to a surface and continue kneading, and this is how you know that the dough is ready. When you pinch it with your finger, it bounces back, and then leave it to rest for, I left it for 30 minutes, and then after 30 minutes, now cut the dough into 2 and roll out the first ball, and after that start cutting into your desired shapes. I cut mine into squares, but you can absolutely cut yours into the shapes that you like. And I would like to show the thickness that I choose for the mandazis. This is perfect because you do not want a very thick one or a very thin one. Cut the other ball like that. And now it's time to check if the oil that we are going to use for deep frying is ready. I'm just using just a small dough that I got from the mandazi dough. And once you realize that the oil is not hot enough, just let it heat up, because you do not want to fry the mandazis in cold oil. And then now start adding the mandazis once the oil is ready. Now in the next step, just continue now keep turning the mandazis just to ensure that they turn golden brown. And you can see the color that mine were when I removed them from the oil. Super delicious, you guys. I love these mandazis so much, and like you can see on the video, they were super soft. I hope you try out this recipe. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Started. So these are the ingredients: water, milk powder, baking powder, custard powder, sugar, margarine, vanilla essence, egg, and 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Like always, I'm going to list all the ingredients and their quantities on the description box, so be sure to check that out. And let's get started. So into a large mixing bowl, add all the dry ingredients: all-purpose flour, milk powder, custard powder, sugar, and baking powder. And you can alter the quantities of these ingredients depending on the number of the mandazis that you'd like to make, depending on the size of your family, and so many factors will determine how much you're going to make the mandazis. And now after that, just go in with a whisk to mix everything together, just ensuring that all the dry ingredients come together like shown on the video. And after that, add the margarine, and then for the margarine, you're going to rub it in with your fingers like shown on the video, just to ensure that the margarine comes together with the dry ingredients and the mixture will be somehow crumbly. And after that, now start adding the wet ingredients. I added vanilla essence, I added the egg, and then I'm just going to mix this together as well. And then I'll start adding the water gradually, just to make a soft dough, like how you would normally make as a mandazi dough. And for the water, I used lukewarm water. And after the dough has come together, now transfer it to a working surface and knead it as much as you can. The more you knead the dough, the softer the dough becomes, and the softer the dough, the softer the mandazis will be. And you know it's ready because when you pinch on the dough, like you place your finger, apply some force, it bounces back, and that means that it's ready. Just cover the dough and leave it there for 1 hour to 2 hours. And after leaving the dough to rest, this is how it looks like. So soft, you guys. And then you're going to need some more before cutting the dough into 2 balls. And you can cut into more balls if you'd like your mandazis to be very, very thin, but I prefer mine to be medium sized, not too thick, not too thin. And I'm going to cut mine into circles. That is the first ball, just rolling it out and then cutting it into balls like shown on the video, and I'm using a cookie cutter. And for the second ball, just roll it out and then cut it into squares, or however you would like to cut yours. Just cut them as you wish. Like that, you can engage your kids. Don't make boring mandazis, especially during these times that the children are at home. Just keep them busy, make them beautiful mandazis. Round ones, square ones, however you would love them, and then start frying them in lukewarm oil. It's not too hot and it's not too cold, and then just keep frying them until they are well cooked. And after the first side is cooked, just go in with a spoon to turn sides. Just to ensure that they cook fully on both sides. And they are ready after they become this golden brown. You guys, these mandazis were so delicious. I love them so much. They were so yummy. We love them, and fry all of them, and this is how the final outlook was. I hope you try out this recipe and I hope you like it. Like I said, it's perfect for breakfast, for snacking, and just anytime, any season you can make these mandazis. And thank you so much for your continued support. If you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing, and thank you so much for watching this video, especially if you watched it up to this point. And I wish you all a good day, and I hope you subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for your continued support.